When my sister demanded to wear my wedding dress, I thought she was joking. But the morning she came for her fitting, what she found waiting for her changed everything. Stick with me while I share my story, and if it touches you, don't forget to support our channel by hitting that subscribe button, dropping a like, and sharing it with the people you care about. My name is Lena Hart. I'm 28 years old, and I was supposed to marry the love of my life, Grant Wells, in just a few weeks. Grant's an engineer, steady, quiet, and always calm. Or at least, that's what I believed. My wedding dress was my dream, custom-made soft ivory silk, covered in lace hand-sewn by a local designer. It took me months to save for it. Every stitch felt like a piece of me. Then came my sister, Tessa. She's 25, loud, beautiful, and used to getting her way. She's a hairstylist who always says she was born for attention. One evening, while we were having dinner at my mom's house, she looked straight at me and said, "Lena, I want to wear your wedding dress for my elopement." I laughed at first, waiting for her to smile, but she didn't. She crossed her arms, tilting her head like I was being unreasonable. "You're just older, not better," she said. The words hit me like a slap. My mom, Clara, looked between us with that tired look she gets and said, "Oh, Lena, don't make a big deal out of it. Tessa's always been sensitive. You can share, can't you?" Sensitive? Tessa had ruined my prom dress years ago and once crashed my birthday party just to announce her engagement. She wasn't sensitive, she was selfish. I told her no, plain and simple. "It's my dress, Tess. You'll have to find your own." She pouted, rolling her eyes. "You're so dramatic. You act like I'm stealing your husband." Everyone laughed except me. After dinner, I found her in my room, standing too close to the dress bag hanging on my closet door. She smiled when she saw me. "Relax, sis. I just wanted to see it up close." I told her to stay out of my room, but she only shrugged. "You'll thank me someday." The next morning, I noticed a small tear near the lace hem. My heart sank. I knew Tessa had touched it, maybe even tried it on. I confronted her, and she just said, "It's not a big deal. I can fix it. I work with stuff like this all the time." I wanted to scream, but instead, I just said quietly, "Stay away from my dress." She smirked, that same smug look that always meant trouble. My mom tried to calm me down, saying, "It's just a dress, Lena." But it wasn't. It was mine, the one thing that truly belonged to me. And deep down, I had a feeling Tessa wasn't done yet. Mom's voice was firm that morning when she called. "Lena, just let Tessa borrow the dress. It's a family thing," she said, like it was the simplest solution in the world. I held the phone tighter. "Mom, it's not a family dress. I bought it myself." She sighed, that disappointed sigh she always used when she wanted me to give in. "You know how your sister is. She's always felt like she gets leftovers. Be kind." The smell of coffee and butter filled the kitchen that Sunday. Mom had insisted we all have brunch together, trying to smooth things over. I showed up late, still tense from the argument. Grant sat beside Tessa at the table, pouring her orange juice like it was the most natural thing in the world. She laughed at something he said, that loud, carefree sound she used when she wanted everyone's eyes on her. When I hung my coat, something shiny on her hand caught my eye. A ring. A gold band with a small diamond that I hadn't seen in years. My chest tightened. I knew that ring. It was mine. The one from a broken engagement when I was 22. I had thrown it away after everything fell apart. Mom noticed me staring. "Oh, isn't it lovely?" she said. "Tessa found a vintage piece that looks just like the one you used to have." Tessa smiled, twisting it on her finger. "It's not a copy," she said softly, looking right at me. "Grant found it for me." The room went quiet. Forks paused midair. Even the air seemed to stop moving. Grant froze, then forced a small laugh. "She's joking," he said quickly. But Tessa kept her eyes on me, her smile just a little too proud. I didn't answer. I couldn't. I just nodded and pretended to focus on my plate, though the food might as well have been dust. Every sound felt far away, the scrape of silverware, Mom's voice talking about the weather, the clock ticking behind me. When we got home, I finally asked, "Did you really find that ring?" Grant was already in the living room, taking off his watch. He didn't meet my eyes. "It was just lying around in your mom's old jewelry box," he said. "I thought maybe it'd make her happy. You're over it, right?" His tone was too casual, too calm. I tried to read his face, but he was already heading to the kitchen. That night, I couldn't sleep. Around midnight, I heard the faint buzz of his phone. He turned on the bathroom light, shutting the door behind. Water ran for a long time, longer than usual. I stared at the ceiling, counting seconds. Something in my chest felt hollow. After a few nights like that, I started to notice a pattern. The quiet messages after midnight, the way he'd step outside to take a call, the faint smell of her perfume on his sleeve. I didn't want to believe it, but deep down I knew. The same feeling that had warned me about Tessa before was back, sharp and cold. Something was happening behind my back, and this time, it wasn't just about a dress. The house was quiet when I woke up before dawn. Grant was still asleep, his phone face down on the nightstand. I stared at it for a long time before looking toward his laptop, sitting open on the desk by the window. Something inside me whispered to move, just once to know for sure. Morning sunlight spilled through the kitchen window as I poured coffee, forcing a calm smile when my phone buzzed with a message from Tessa. She wanted to talk things through, her words dripping with fake sweetness. I stared at her name for a long moment, then typed back, "Come by tomorrow. I think I've been too harsh. Maybe we can make this work." My hands didn't tremble as I sent it. They were steady now. When she arrived that afternoon, her perfume filled the room before she even stepped inside. She looked pleased with herself, hair perfectly styled, a new manicure glinting as she brushed a curl from her face. I greeted her with a soft smile, the kind that hides sharp edges. "I've been thinking," I began, keeping my voice careful. "Maybe I was too protective of the dress. I know it means a lot to you." She lit up, exactly as I expected. "See? I knew you'd come around," she said, tossing her hair. "Grant told me you'd do the right thing." I didn't ask what that meant. Instead, I nodded like it didn't sting. "Maybe we should make sure it fits you properly," I suggested. "Come tomorrow morning. I'll have it ready for you." She grinned, leaning against the counter like she already owned the place. "You know," she said, "it's funny how close Grant and I have gotten. He just understands me. You're lucky to have him." My smile never wavered. "Yeah," I said softly. "Lucky." After she left, I dialed a number I hadn't used in years. Marla answered on the third ring, her voice rough from years of late-night sewing. "Lena Hart," she said, sounding surprised. "Hey, Marla. I need a favor," I said. There was a pause, then a low chuckle. "The last time you said that, your prom dress caught fire. What is it this time?" I hesitated for only a second. "It's my wedding dress. I need a few changes made." She listened as I explained, her tone shifting from amusement to understanding. "You sure you want to do this?" she asked quietly when I finished. "I'm sure," I said. "It has to be perfect." By nightfall, I was in her small workshop, the scent of fabric glue and starch heavy in the air. We laid the gown out on her wide wooden table, its silk gleaming under the lamplight. Marla didn't ask more questions. She just worked, needle moving in clean, precise stitches. I handed her the folded pages from the white box, one by one, and she sealed them where they needed to be. When we finished, she looked at me for a long moment. "You've changed," she murmured. "Maybe," I said, brushing my hand across the smooth lace. "Or maybe I'm just seeing things clearly for the first time." The next morning, the dress waited by the window, flawless, shining, and ready. The doorbell rang earlier than expected. Through the glass, I saw Tessa standing on the porch, a paper cup in one hand and that familiar smirk curling her mouth. Her sunglasses hid half her face, but the satisfaction radiated through. I opened the door, keeping my expression smooth. Tessa's scream shattered the quiet. It wasn't surprise anymore, it was fury. She clawed at the fabric, tearing through the seams as if she could rip the truth out of existence. Papers fluttered around her like snow, falling to the floor in sharp, white bursts. "You're insane," she shouted, her voice raw. "You had no right." I didn't answer. I stood by the doorway, my arms crossed, watching as she yanked the dress over her shoulders and let it drop to the floor in a heap. Her breath came in short, angry gasps. The messages and photos she'd torn from the lining scattered across the carpet, a mosaic of betrayal glinting under the morning light. The sound of hurried footsteps came from the stairs. Grant's voice followed, tense and shaky. "What's going on?" He appeared in the doorway, eyes darting between us, then to the dress at Tessa's feet. His face drained of color. "What is this?" I reached for the folder on the dresser, the one I had prepared days ago, and held it out to him. "You might want to take a look," I said softly. He took it hesitantly, opening it with trembling hand. The color in his face deepened to a sick gray as he flipped through the pages. "Lena, this isn't what it looks like." Tessa interrupted with a sob. "She's lying. She's twisting everything." I looked at both of them, my voice even. "There's another copy already sent to Mom and Dad. And to your parents, Grant. Just in case you thought about denying it." He froze, the folder slipping slightly in his grasp. "Why would you do this?" My gaze didn't waver. "Because you both did." Behind him, Mom appeared, pulled in by the noise. She looked from me to Tessa, then to the mess on the floor. "What is all this?" she demanded. "Lena, stop this nonsense. You're tearing the family apart." Her words were sharp, almost rehearsed, like she'd been waiting for a chance to blame me. I turned to her slowly. "No," I said, each word quiet but clear. "You destroyed me." The room fell silent. Even the air felt heavier, pressed down by everything left unsaid. Grant's mouth opened, but no words came out. Tessa's sobs turned into shallow breaths. Mom stood frozen, her face pale. I didn't wait for more excuses. I stepped past them, the carpet soft under my shoes, the scent of torn silk and cold coffee hanging in the air. My hand brushed against the doorframe as I reached the hallway. Behind me, the sound of Tessa crying and Mom scolding blurred together into something distant, almost unreal. When I stepped outside, the air was cold against my skin, clean and still. For the first time in a long while, the silence didn't hurt. It felt like freedom. The door clicked shut behind me, and I didn't look back. The wedding was canceled before the invitations ever left their envelopes. Calls came in for days, curious friends, distant relatives, even old classmates who just wanted to check in. I said little. By the end of the week, everyone knew. In a small town, secrets never stay buried long. The ocean was the only sound most mornings. Waves rolled against the rocks below my balcony, steady and soft, like they had been waiting centuries to be heard. The air smelled of salt and seaweed, and gulls called from the pier. My days had become quiet, measured. Coffee at sunrise, long walks by the water, evenings filled with the hum of the tide. It had been months since I'd left that house behind. My phone stayed silent now, except for the occasional message from a distant friend checking in. I liked it that way. No noise, no pretending. One afternoon, as I sorted through the mail, I saw the envelope. My name written in looping, familiar handwriting. The sight of it made the air still. Tessa. The paper was soft, slightly wrinkled, as if it had been handled too much. There was no return address, just my name and the faint scent of the same perfume she always wore. I stood for a long moment, turning it over in my hands. Part of me wanted to open it, to see what she'd written, to hear the version of the story she was telling herself. I imagined the words, apologies wrapped in excuses, sorrow tied up with self-pity. I could almost hear her voice, saying how she never meant to hurt anyone, how love had just happened. But the truth was, I didn't need to read it. I already knew every sentence she'd try to twist. Some people only apologize to ease their own guilt, not to make things right. I stepped out onto the balcony. The sky was low and gray, the horizon melting into the sea. I held the letter by one corner and struck a match. The flame caught quickly, curling the paper inward. The handwriting blackened, vanished. Ash drifted down like tiny feathers, spinning away into the wind. Some pieces landed on the railing, glowing faintly before the breeze swept them toward the water. I watched until there was nothing left but a few smudges of soot on my fingers. I rubbed them clean against my palm and leaned against the railing, breathing in the cold air. For the first time in a long while, there was no ache in my chest, no anger, no longing for an apology that could never mean anything real, just a stillness that felt right. Below, the waves moved in their endless rhythm, carrying everything away, names, memories, promises. I closed my eyes and listened. The past had become quiet, and so had I. A full year passed before her name appeared again. The envelope came on a warm afternoon, buried between utility bills and a grocery flyer. Thick cream paper, elegant handwriting, embossed edges. Tessa always did love a show. My first instinct was to toss it straight into the trash, but curiosity made me slide a finger under the seal.